Yo, what's happening guys? Welcome to your 30th Node.js tutorial, and in this video I'm going to show you how we can handle post requests. Okay, so post is a request method and you've probably heard about it quite a lot. And it basically means that we're asking the server to accept or store some data which is enclosed in the body of a request. And normally we use a post request when we're submitting forms on a website. So when we post data to the server, we're no longer using the data in the query string in the URL. The data we're posting to the server is in the request body itself. So we need a way to handle that a little differently from GET requests where we use query strings. So we're going to take a look at that in this tutorial. Okay, so in the last tutorial we saw we had this form and we injected some content dynamically into the input fields of this form by grabbing the data from the query string. Now in this tutorial what we're going to do is kind of set up what happens when we submit this form, when we click the button to submit it. How are we going to handle that data that we send to the server? Well, first of all, what we're going to do is post that data to the server. We're going to use a post request. We're not going to send any data along in a query string or anything like that. We're going to use a post request. So I'm just going to come up here to the form tag at the top and I'm just going to paste in a couple of things. So first of all, the method is going to be post because this is going to be a post method. And the action is going to be the URL that we're posting to, and that is just /contact. So that's all we need to do on our form. The rest of the work needs to be done in this app.js file. So what we need to do is handle this post request in here. And when we used the request object to handle the query string in the previous tutorial, the request object in Express handled parsing that data for us. Now, it doesn't handle the parsing of the post data for us. We need to add in some additional middleware to do that for us. And one piece of middleware we can use is called body-parser. So if you just want to search for that on the NPM website, I'll leave this link down below as well, then you'll see that we can install this body-parser to do all of this parsing for us. And you can see right here it says it parses incoming request bodies in a middleware before your handlers available under the request.body property. Okay, so how do we use this? Well, if we scroll down to the bottom down here, it's going to give us some examples on how to use this, and what we want to look for is express route specific. Okay, so when we're posting to a specific route or route, which is going to be our /contact route, we want to invoke this body parser middleware, to handle the parsing of our post data. So the first thing you want to do is install this body parser. Now all you need to do is look for this thing right here, installation, and it says npm install body parser. So you just need to copy that and paste it down here and click enter. I've already done that, so I've got the body parser installed. Then we need to add it into our app.js and require it. So I'm going to just copy this right here and paste it below this require. So now we can use the body parser in this app.js file because it's just a module. We're requiring that module, and then we'll come down to the example to see what they've done. So scroll down here again, express route specific, and you can see the first thing they've done is require it right there, which we've already done. Then we've got this express app running. This is to parse JSON. We're not going to do this in this tutorial. What we're going to do is use this URL encoded parser. Okay, so this is the function right here that we want to invoke in our middleware to parse our post data. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, I'm just going to grab this, copy it right here, and paste it over here, like so. So now we've got a shortcut to this piece of middleware right here, this function, which is going to parse our post data for us, and we're storing that in this variable right here. So now we just want to use this piece of middleware in our post handler for the /contact request. So you can see they've done it down here like this, app.post, then whichever route, then they've passed in that middleware, which is just this variable we've created, and then we have our function as normal. Okay, so let's set that up. At the minute we have an app.get request handler right here. We want an app.post handler for the contact route. So let's copy that, paste it down here. Just going to change this thing to post. And then what we need to do is pass in this URL encoded parser variable, which we created up here. So this is just a piece of middleware. It's storing this function for us right here, which is going to fire whenever this post request is made. So let's paste that piece of middleware right here. And this is very similar to using the app.use method, except we're just using it on the post request this time. So what happens is when we get a post request at this URL, which we're going to get when we hit this submit button, because we've said method post and action / contact. So it's going to make a post request to this URL. So when that happens, we're going to handle that post request right here, and we're going to use this middleware, which is going to fire, and it's going to parse the data which we post to the server. So the data stored in these fields, when we click submit, is going to be parsed by this middleware right here. Okay? Then we can access it on the request object right here by using this request.body property right there. So it's going to store that data for us that it parses. So if I now make this full screen and say something like console.log request.body, then that is going to log this data sent along, posted to us in the body. And this did it for us. This thing right here, this middleware, gave us access to this body property on the request object. It parsed that data for us. Okay? So let's save this, and now let's say nodemon app.js. It's going to run it and open this up in a browser. So / contact. Then I'm going to contact Ryu. Which department? Marketing. And then the email is just going to be, I don't know, ninja@ninja.com. Okay, so now when I click submit, we're going to fire this post request right here. It's going to parse this data for us in the body, and we're going to get access to it on the request.body object, and it's going to log that to the console for us. So watch down here, I'll click submit, and now we can see that data logged to the console. And the properties are who, that's Ryu, so that corresponds to this. Then department is marketing, then the email is ninja@ninja.com. So each one of these corresponds to what I put into these fields right here. And the property names, who, department, and email are all coming from this form. You see we have an input with a name of who, with a name of department, and with a name of email. So that's the names of the properties that we've grabbed. Okay, and we've parsed those using this body parser, and this middleware gave us access to this body property on the request object, so we can just grab that data now and do something with it. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a new view for a success page when we've successfully submitted the form. So I'm just going to say, instead of rendering contact, render contact-success. Okay, and then I'm not going to send this data through from the query string because we're not going to have one. Instead, I'm going to send this data through. So I'll say data is request.body. And now we're going to have access to this data down here in this view right here. So let's go ahead and create that view. So I'm going to go to views, right click, and go to new file. And then I'm going to call this contact-success.ejs. And then in here, I'm just going to grab all of this stuff from the contact.ejs file, paste it in. I'm going to get rid of the form. We don't need that anymore. This is a success page. And I'm going to say right here, thanks for getting in touch. And I'm going to output some of the data that we grabbed right here in the request.body. So that's in the data object that we passed through to the view. So now I can say p-tag, you contacted, and then we want to output some data, so we use the EJS tags, and it's going to be data.who, that's the property, who. You contacted Ryu, it should come out as. We'll close those tags. in the, and then we'll output the department using the EJS tags again, and that's data.department, this property right here, and close that off in the something department, like so. And then underneath I'm going to say we will reply to you at, and then we're going to output this email property as well. So EJS tags again, equal sign, and then it's data.email, and then we're going to close those off, and that will do. Okay, so now when we fire a post request, when we click submit on the form, it's going to fire this post handler right here. It's going to parse the data that we send in the body, and it's going to give us access to that data on the body property then of the request object. Then we're going to render the contact success view, which is this thing we just created, and we're going to pass that data back into the view, which we're then outputting to the user using these EJS tags. Okay, so let's save this dude now. I'm going to just go down here and say RS to restart the server. Then I'm going to go to /contact again. Who do you want to contact? Ryu. Which department? IT we'll say this time, and then this is going to be ninja@ninja.com. So now when I click submit, we should get the contact success view, and it says thanks for getting in touch. You contacted Ryu in the IT department. We will reply to you at ninja@ninja.com. So it's grabbed all of that data from the post request right here in the form. It's parsed that using this middleware, the URL encoded parser, which we stored up here, the body parser, and it's given access to us on that data on the request object. We've passed that data through to the view, contact success, and we've output it here. Okay. Now, in a real world example, what we'll probably do is send that data to a database or email it to an email address, so we know someone has contacted us. Now, I'm not going to show you how to do that in this tutorial, but we can use another package, something called Node Mailer. This is something we can use to send mail on. Okay, and maybe I'll do this in a future tutorial, but for now, this is how we handle post requests and grab data from a form and do something with that data. Any questions, feel free to ask those down below. Otherwise, guys, don't forget to share, subscribe, and like. I'm going to see you in the very next tutorial.